Hello, hello, hello. Attendees can chat with everyone. Okay. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Can someone just say yes in the chat if you can hear me? Yes, thanks. Okay. Panelists can chat. Okay. Yay. So good to see so many people here. Let me know in the chat where you are and if you've been to any of my trainings before or read my book or seen videos or anything like that. Like, are you new to my world or have you been following me for a while? And why are you here today? I'd love to get to know you. We're going to get started really soon, very soon, because there's quite a lot of content to go through. And I want to make sure we get through everything. So, okay, let me get my presentation up. There we go. Good to see you. Jennifer's a newbie from Pittsburgh. Patricia from Washington. Tarima. Hope I'm saying that right. Oh, okay. Jean, new from Charleston, South Carolina. And how familiar with my work? Who's sort of, are you aware of, like, I don't know, watching any of my videos or anything like that? Jean is from Charleston, South Carolina. Montreal, Canada. I've been waiting for in the week reframe workshop. Okay. Mark from Wyoming, Netherlands. Jennifer saw me on Instagram. Okay. Billy is in London. Love London. Okay. Well, I am going to share my screen because I kind of have some slides. It kind of makes it easier to follow. There's quite a lot to get through. You will get the recording. That will come out. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat and I will stop every so often and answer questions. So I want you to get as much out of this session as possible. Are you all interested in learning how to become emotionally sober? Is that why everyone's here? Share. Can everybody see this? Can everyone see my presentation? If someone can just say yes, because I never trust technology. I never trust that I'm sharing the right screen. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, let's do this slideshow. Okay, great. We should be cooking with gas. Let me just get the chat up. Exit full screen. Okay, chat. Okay, I just like to be able to see some of the chat as well. Okay. Okay, people have seen me on YouTube and Northern Ireland. Okay, watch lots of your videos. Okay, have a book. Yeah. And those of you who are interested, I have a book that came out a few years ago. I have 3 books actually, but the last one is this one. Here. That's got lots of stuff about emotional sobriety, and I also recommend getting that as well. Okay. We're going to talk about emotional sobriety. What if you could finally be from alcohol without relying on willpower? Willpower does not work. Willpower is completely useless and pointless in the whole exercise of wanting to stop drinking. So if you keep going back to day one and you keep having arguments in your head about whether you can drink or not and how much you can drink and all that kind of stuff, people with an alcohol problem do 4 things. They drink, they think about drinking, they think about not drinking, and they recover from drinking. So if you do those 4 things, you're in the right place. If you are worrying about how alcohol is affecting your health, all of that kind of stuff. Is everybody in the right place? Put yes in the chat if you're in the right place. Okay. It's really good to know you're not alone. It's really, really good to know that you are not the only one. Because when I was struggling with this, I thought I was the only one who felt this way, and I thought everyone else was fine. So this is a free webinar. I do things like this every so often. And it's for people who want lasting sobriety. Like, I am not your tips and tricks to stay away from drink, although I can do that and I can teach that. I am, let's get to the root problem and change. Okay, that's the kind of person I am. first thing is, I want you to know this about me, because I really need you to know I did not show up like this. I did not show up in this, I don't know, reasonably confident and capable person you see in front of you. I was an unholy mess. And my drinking, I got sober at May 2nd, 2000. So my drinking really was during the way before digital cameras or social media, thank God. But I do have a few pictures from those days. And I did the picture of me with the gold in the wearing all those necklaces. That's at Fantasy Fest in Key West in Florida. And look at my eyes. I just think my eyes look like they're dead inside. So I want you to know that I was lost. I was stuck. I didn't want to drink, but I couldn't seem to stop myself. I was a binge drinker. Alcohol took a lot of my bandwidth. It took a lot of opportunities, a lot of friendships. And it's really important that I know what it's like to be in that place. Okay. I was incredibly fortunate that I stopped drinking at 27 years old. And I want you to know the reason that I stopped drinking and got sober at 27 was not because I was smart or lucky or insightful enough to realize that alcohol was a problem and I had to knock it on the head. That's not why I stopped drinking. I stopped drinking because I was completely and utterly desperate. Like I was desperate, hanging on to my sanity by my fingernails. I only stopped drinking because there was no alternative. I tried for 10 years because my rock bottom happened when I was 18. I drank destructively from the word go. I wouldn't have made it into my 40s if I'd have carried on. So it wasn't luck, it wasn't insight, it wasn't because I was smart, it was because I was desperate. And I got the gift of desperation and my whole life changed. So the good news, the thing is about when you stop drinking, I thought that my whole life was going to be over. I thought alcohol was the best way to have fun, excitement, belonging, connection, to relax and to reward myself. And the only reason I stopped was because I had really bad panic attacks and anxiety. And I used alcohol to cope with my panic attacks and anxiety. Who else has used alcohol to cope with anxiety? I want to tell you, it's way, way, way more common than you realize. So I thought that stopping drinking was the worst thing in the world, that I was never going to have fun again, that I was going to be boring and dull and gray. And that was just how it was. Oh, hi, Alma. Is that my Alma from the weekend? So I thought it was the worst thing in the whole world, but I accepted the fact that I had to stop drinking. And if I stopped drinking, the anxiety would be better. And I would have done anything at that point for the anxiety to be better. So I reluctantly accepted that trade that I'll stop drinking, but I'll be dull, boring, and grey for the rest of my life. Not true, guys. Not true. That was a complete it was a belief system. You will have more fun, more life, more connection, more everything when you stop drinking. So all that happens in sobriety is a shift in perception. That's all it is. Okay, so by the end of this training, I want you to know why willpower doesn't work. I want you to know what emotional sobriety is and why it's everything. It's not just about staying sober. It will change every area of your life. My framework for making sobriety stick. And at the end, I will tell you about a paid program that I have. It's the emotional sobriety framework. It's enrolling in June. And I will explain, it's a 6-month, it's an in-depth program, and I'll explain all of that at the end for those of you who would like to do this work with me. Okay, let's bust some myths about sobriety. All you need to do is stop drinking and everything will be fine, right? I think that's probably one of the biggest ones. If I can just first of all, we try and cut down, and then we realize we can't cut down. We tried that for a few years, try and manage it. Who's tried to manage their drinking? Who's tried to do that a lot? And then we think, oh, we just have to stop. If I just stop, everything will be fine. It's not It's not like that. It's not as straightforward as that. There's more to stopping drinking than stopping drinking. We also believe that if we don't drink, we'll miss out. And the missing out is very vague. Missing out on what exactly? The fun? All the fun? How fun has your drinking been lately? Again, like me, your life will be dull, boring, and grey. You won't have fun anymore. All of those things. Who has believed that, or who still believes that? It's a belief, not a reality. It's a belief system. A big part of staying sober is about the belief systems changing. So I want to define what being sober actually means. It means sobriety is about being emotionally sober. It's not just not drinking alcohol. It's 10% not drinking alcohol, very important 10%. We've got to do that first. And it's 90% emotional sobriety. The effort needs to go into stopping and then becoming emotionally sober. So I want you guys to kind of take that away and know what you need to do. So, and I'm going to go into a lot more detail about what emotional sobriety is and how to get it, all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? If you've been stuck in day ones and all that kind of stuff, it's really about becoming emotionally sober. So what is emotional sobriety and how will you know if you've got it? Here, it's all to do with how you feel. I want to say you'll know that you're emotionally sober because you'll feel comfortable in your own skin. Does everyone here know what it's like to feel really uncomfortable in their own skin, to almost not want to be you, right? To almost want to have to run away from yourself. Who has had that feeling? I used to feel like that all the time. Yeah. So we were comfortable in our own skin when we were kids, because kids they just live in the moment, right? So emotional sobriety is when you feel comfortable in your own skin. And what that means is you like yourself. I didn't like myself when I was drinking. I didn't like myself. And that's a horrible way to live, because this is it. This is the house I live in. This is who I am, right? It's a terrible thing to go through your life without liking yourself. You know, if you look at little children and how precious and fun and silly they are, right? Just look at those little children and think how awful it would be if that little child went through its life without liking itself, right? It's the same for you. You were a little child once. Is this making sense to everybody? So the other part of emotional sobriety is it's really about learning how to have emotional mastery, because as you will see as we go through this presentation, the reason that we drink and do other self-destructive behaviors is because of how we feel. We are using outside fixes to fix how we feel. So when we have mastery over our emotions, which means our emotions do not frighten us, we can deal with them, we can release them, they don't own us anymore. The result of that is you just feel comfortable in your own skin, you like yourself. Who would like to have that? Who put yes in the chat if you're like, oh God, yes, please. Because when I stopped drinking, I didn't know that I wanted this. I didn't know that this is what I want. I knew I wanted something. I knew I definitely wanted to feel different and all of that kind of stuff, but I didn't know it was this that I wanted. So this, I'm going to tell you, this is what you want. In case it's not just not drinking, this is what you want. This is what makes life worth living. So that's why it's not enough to just stop drinking, because alcohol is often the solution to how we feel. So when you take alcohol away, you've still got, you're basically an emotional teenager. So stopping drinking isn't the problem. You've all stopped drinking. Who here stopped drinking for a day, a week, a month, or even a year? Who's done that? Stopping drinking, you can do it. Stopping drinking is easy. It's staying stopped. It's staying stopped that is the more challenging bit. And you can't stay stopped unless you are emotionally sober. Yeah. People have done it. Yeah. How many day ones have you guys had? For how How many times have you gone back to day one, or how many years have you been trying to solve this problem? Just put it in the chat. I'm just curious. I'm just going to quickly look at, dear Veronica, did you try to achieve emotional sobriety on your own, or did you need help from some specialist institute or else? How did you achieve to, okay. I very quickly, Anastasia, I'm not sure what, no, I hit a rock bottom at 3 years of sobriety. I was in a very, very dark place. I didn't want to drink, but I didn't know how to carry on living. I got help and I made it my priority, and that transformed my life. And all those things I did, I'm going to show you in this presentation, and that's what I teach in my programs. So I don't believe that you can really do it on your own, because our minds are tricky, right? Our minds are, we're really good at rationalizing and lying to ourselves. We need someone to hold us accountable and to challenge us. And that's what I do. Faye has been sober for 18 months. I've been surprised by thoughts drinking after 15 months without many or any prior to that. Yeah. I think that often happens, Faye, if we're not emotionally sober. Yeah. Okay. I want to explain one of the reasons you keep going back to day one and how we sabotage ourselves. This is a really important psychological mechanism that we all have. Okay. So when you've stopped drinking, right? We all wake up and on that day and go, oh my God, I'm done. Never again. That was awful. I want to stop drinking. I mean it this time. I'm going to be really strong. I'm really serious about that. Who's done that, right? Who's woken up and gone, I am done. I don't want to drink. It's awful. All of that kind of stuff, right? And so you stop for a bit and you'll feel a bit better, right? You'll feel physically better after a few days, a few weeks. You'll feel better, maybe you're sleeping better, getting more done. And then that voice creeps in. That voice in your head creeps in and says, you're not that bad. Who's had that voice in their head? You could look, it's been 3 weeks. You could just have one, right? You could just have one. Everyone else is drinking. You'll be missing out if you don't have a glass of champagne at the wedding or a glass of wine at the meal, right? And once that voice starts going around in your head, you are going to start feeling very, very uncomfortable. And you are basically, it's inevitable that you're going to drink again, because you'll then try and hold on through willpower. Who has repeated that? You'll see from the chat, you all do it. We're not original. There's nothing special or different about any of us. So that voice in your head is the voice of the ego. Now, this bit's important. All of you have a voice in your head. It's the voice of the ego. You're not crazy. We are all narrating our own lives. We're all just kind of telling ourselves a story. The job of the ego is to keep you safe. So if you were standing on the edge of a very busy street and there were big trucks going by, you'd have a voice in your head going, whoa, step back a bit, right? Does everyone know what I'm talking about? The primary purpose of the ego is to keep you safe, and it believes the best way to keep you safe is if nothing changes and everything stays familiar. Your drinking patterns are very familiar, right? You know how that's going to go. You know what you drink, you know how you drink, you know what happens when you drink, and you know how the next day is going to go. It's very familiar. The ego doesn't care that it's self-destructive. The ego only cares that it's familiar. So the ego is always going to be resistant to change. That's why it's telling you this story. Oh, you're not that bad. Oh, you could just have one. Oh, you'll be missing out. It will do whatever it needs to do to make you uncomfortable enough to resist change. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, this shows up in any area of your life where you're trying to do something new. So if you start a new job, right? I used to do this when I was employed years ago. I would, kind of maybe get a bit bored in my job and want a promotion or a pay rise, and I'd find a new job and I'd apply for it. And I was pretty good at interviews, and I'd get it. And I'd be like, oh my God. And then I'd start panicking and go, oh my God, I have tricked them in some way. I've tricked them that I'm competent and I know what I'm doing. And I'd start getting really anxious, and I'd quit my job and I'd start the new one, and it would be so confusing and nothing made sense. And I didn't know what anything meant. And I'd start thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Why have I done this? I should just have stayed. I just should just been happy in my old job. I should have just been fine. Who's had that experience in a college course or a new job, or just, you know, a new thing, right? That is the ego. I've gone into a new thing, job is unknown, don't know all these people or what's going on. And the ego is like, this is unfamiliar. Let's just go back to how things were, right? But we are able in many situations to push past that discomfort. The reason we can do it with a new job is because that's where the money is, and it's very motivating. So we have in our lives pushed through resistance and discomfort. And if you hadn't have done that, you all would be still at home in your childhood bedroom with your parents. So you have pushed yourself out of your comfort zones numerous times in your life. You've all done it. This is just the same thing. Does that make sense with everybody? I want you to all understand about self-sabotage and how that happens. Any questions about that? Okay, good. Yeah. So the voice in your head, it is not the voice of God, people. It is not the voice of the divine. It is simply the voice of the ego trying to just make sure nothing changes because we just like familiar. That's all it is. That's all that's happening. So it's really key that we learn how to navigate around discomfort and resistance. This is a psychological process. It's never going to change, right? Whatever new thing you do, whether it's sobriety or a new job or course or new thing, you're going to go through this process. I want you to understand that it is a process, and you may feel uncomfortable for a little bit, but that discomfort's temporary, because your new thing will eventually become your familiar thing, right? Eventually sobriety will just become your thing. It's familiar, you know how to do it. So we have to get past that initial discomfort and resistance. And resistance shows up in lots of you will hear that voice in your head say multiple different things to get you to stay. So I want to explain why emotional sobriety is the missing piece. So we have outsourced the management of our emotions to alcohol. We don't know how to manage our emotions and emotionally regulate ourselves. So we often use alcohol to numb uncomfortable, difficult feelings because we don't know how to deal with them. Does this make sense? And can everybody see how they do this? So do you do any of these things? Who here says yes when really they mean no? Who is a people pleaser? Where you care more about what other people think and feel about you than what you think and feel about yourself. You avoid any conflict. You often feel resentful, bitter, even drained, like your needs don't matter and people don't think of you, or that you don't seem to matter to other people. Who feels like that? You're always beating yourself up. You absolutely have just like I am a recovered people pleaser. I know it's hard to believe because I have really good boundaries now, and all that matters is what I think about myself. But I was a really bad people pleaser, and it would destroy me if I thought somebody was upset with me. If someone was upset with me, I would just, I just hated that feeling. And I would just try and get you to like me again. We can't live like that. You cannot live like that. It's a terrible way to live. You often feel overwhelmed. You often feel like you're just not good enough. Who feels like that? They're just not good enough. That's a very common characteristic of root of an alcohol problem. Yeah. Thank you, Glenda. I'm glad it's very good. Yeah. I feel like I know my stuff. I've done this for 23 years. So I feel like I'm pretty good at this bit. Yeah, Kelly's saying she does all of them. David does all of them. Yeah, yeah. Was a people pleaser most of my life. Yeah. Yes, you can change, Susan. Recovered people pleaser. Great. Yeah. Lynn, my mom told me I was pretty, but not that pretty. Oh my God. Not so much these days, but I used to do some of it. I wanted to be the rescuer for the, yeah. We've got to change this behavior. And if this is behavior. If you behave like this, you're not going to feel great. If you're not going to feel great, you are going to look for ways to change how you feel. Simple as. So what we have done is we have outsourced the management of our emotions to alcohol. We drink because of how we feel. Stressed, social anxiety, because we want to manufacture fun, like chemically induced fun. That's what alcohol is. We want to fit in. It's expected of us. We don't like how we feel. And we're emotional teenagers. When I stopped drinking, I was an emotional teenager. I had no idea how to navigate the world. I had no idea how to be a grown-up. Like nobody had shown me. So the thing is, when we outsource our emotions to alcohol, it has a cost. I was about 14, 15 when I discovered alcohol, and it worked. By the time I was 15 years old, I was very uncomfortable in my own skin and I didn't like myself. And alcohol worked. It was just, it fixed how I felt and was the solution. That's it. Done. Awesome. But there's a real cost to this because all our learning and develop doesn't happen when we're children, right? It doesn't stop when you're 18. You are a constant work in progress. You are constantly giving yourself, you are constantly being given opportunities to learn, grow, and develop as a human being. You can take those opportunities or not. So when we go through emotional stuff, that is an opportunity, an invitation to learn and grow. But when you numb yourself with alcohol, you just miss those opportunities. So when you're a child, a young person, you are, we're learning so much, right? We're learning to read and write and walk and deal with people and take exams and money management and cook, we're just learning so much. And we're also learning how to be in the world, how to deal with the world, deal with people and manage our emotions. I didn't grow up in a family of origin that was able to really role model that for me. So I didn't learn that in my family of origin. You may have been the same. Who was the same? Well, that's fine. That life is going to give me opportunities, but I didn't take those opportunities because I just use alcohol. Alcohol steals these opportunities from us. Am I making sense? Alma, who's here, was with me this weekend. We were at a retreat in Mexico. Do you remember the rules for being human? That kind of talks about what I was saying. You are going to be given opportunities to learn and grow. And if you don't take them, then they'll come around again. And using alcohol is not the solution. So this is what happens. When you have an alcohol problem, you leave yourself by degrees. So you I would tell, like, I was really hungover. So I would tell like a white lie, like, oh, I must have like eaten something last night, right? That one little lie about, it's not, what's the big deal? I would behave in ways that went against my values. I would say things I didn't mean. I said yes when I meant no. Boom, 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 boom. And one day you wake up and you are so far away from who you really are. And you don't see it happening. You don't see like how out of alignment with your values, with your true self, you wake up over here. Can everybody recognize how they've done that? This is extremely painful. It's extremely painful to be out of alignment with yourself. So this kind of, and it's emotional pain. I need an anesthetic because I don't like myself when I am so far away from who I really am. Does everybody know what I mean by that? I just want to make sure I'm making sense to y'all. Yeah. Okay, good. Sobriety is the journey back to yourself. And emotional sobriety is how you make that journey back to yourself. Stopping drinking is not enough. Emotional sobriety is the journey back to who you are. Because when you return to yourself, When you like yourself, when you are comfortable in your own skin, it is almost impossible to want to put a carcinogenic substance in your body. It's almost impossible. Like, it's so easy to go, no, thank you. That is how you get sobriety to stick. Make sense? Alcohol feels like relief because emotional sobriety is missing. But you can learn a new way. And when you do, everything changes. My oldest client is 78 years old. So I don't care how many of you, how old you are here. Oh, I'm too old. It's too late. No, rubbish. You can, emotional sobriety is skill-based. It's not hard. It requires practice. That's all. And let me walk you through the process I teach in my private programs. But I want to just check if anyone has any questions or comments so far. Let me just have a little look. If you have any questions, make sure that you put them in. Okay. Okay, so this is the process. This is what you need to do to be emotionally sober, and this is what I teach. So the first step is awareness. So that first one, you can't change what you don't understand. My hope for you, whether you work with me or not, is that you leave this webinar knowing what needs to be done, like being much clearer on what you need to do exactly. Because if you don't know, it's like, I've stopped drinking, but you're just like, right? I personally think there's a lot of programs out there where it's the blind leading the blind. I'm very specific. This is what you need to do. And part of, like, the reason I put so much free stuff out there is that I want you guys to kind of know my thing and trust me, right? Trust that I know what I'm talking about. Because if you can't do the work unless you know specifically what the work is. I felt when I first got sober, there was just a lot of vagueness. People would tell me, like, oh, you just have to work on yourself. Well, what does that mean exactly, working on yourself? That doesn't mean anything, right? I wanted someone to specifically tell me what to do, and I'm very specific. So we uncover your unconscious beliefs and triggers around alcohol. So a lot of this is in your subconscious mind. A lot of it is stuff that's you're not aware of. Your subconscious mind, which is the bit you're not aware of. Your conscious mind is your thoughts, basically, what you're aware of. You might be thinking, oh, I'm going to have a cup of tea later. I'm going to have an early night, right? You're aware of it. Your conscious mind is only responsible for 5% of what happens in your day. Your subconscious mind runs the show. So we need to get into your subconscious mind and uncover your beliefs around alcohol. You cannot stay sober if you believe that alcohol is the best way to have fun, excitement, belonging, connection, to relax, and to reward yourself. Like, I'm 25 years sober. If I still believed I miss out because I don't drink alcohol, getting drunk is the best way to have fun, there's nobody can stay sober believing that, right? That would be a horrible way to live. I don't believe that. I know it's not true. But at the beginning, I didn't. At the beginning, I still thought that I was missing out and alcohol was the best way to have fun. So we have to change our belief system. So this is one thing that I tell all of my clients. There's no such thing as failure in my programs. There's only feedback. Okay. So we got to change our language and how we see things. We don't lie to ourselves, and we're not Pollyanna where we're like, oh, everything's wonderful, right? No matter what's happening, whether you're, day 3 today or thinking about getting started, just you being on this webinar, just you being on this webinar and getting this information is you living in the solution. So living in the solution and not the problem. Living in the problem is when we're just like, we just like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just going to drink, right? Living in the solution is connecting with other sober people, getting information, maybe listening to a podcast or buying a book, doing a program. All of those things are living in the solution. The other thing is that I want you to be aware of is, in early sobriety, you are probably going to go through the grief process. Early sobriety is about the first year. and I want you guys to know this, early sobriety is not how it is long term. So long term, don't judge sobriety by the first year, your experience in the first year, because that's not how it is long term. Early sobriety is a unique experience. It's an early sobriety experience. It takes a year for your body, your brain, your gut, your hormones, your emotions, your sleep, all of those things to begin to heal and recover. And one of the things you'll go through is the grief process, because even though intellectually I know you want to stop drinking and get rid of alcohol, emotionally it's your best friend, right? It's always going to be there. Well, it's always been there for you. So you're letting go of something you care about, something you love, even though you know it's destroying you. So you're going to feel anger and sadness and bargaining and all of those kind of things. So again, uncomfortable feelings. That you're going to have some uncomfortable feelings. You'll survive them. They will pass. Can everybody, does that make sense to everybody? And has everybody kind of had like that experience a little bit? So Lynn, how do you know you're there? Do you mean, how do you know you're emotionally sober? You will feel comfortable in your own skin. You will like yourself, and you will have mastery over your emotions. Your emotions won't frighten you, and you will know how to deal with them. So the reason that you feel the way that you're feeling is that you need to allow yourself to go through the grief process, and it could be a few days, could be a few weeks, but it will pass. You won't always feel like this. You have to give yourself the gift of time to allow yourself to go through these processes, right? This is all not going to be resolved in a week or 30 days. If you think about how long you've been drinking, good news is, if you've been drinking for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it's not going to take 20, 30, 40, 50 years to get emotionally sober and feel better. It's going to take about a year-ish. So here are some of the beliefs, this is some of the perceptions that we need to change, the beliefs we need to change. Alcohol is the best way to have fun, or life is so much more enjoyable without it. These are all fixed mindset positions. So I'll be missing out is a fixed mindset. Where do you go with that? A growth mindset is I love missing out on hangovers, shame, guilt, and self-loathing. So this is an example of how you can begin to reframe what is happening, how you can see things differently. So the second step is we need to learn emotional regulation skills. So we need to learn how to sit with and move through emotions without needing to numb. We need to be able to set boundaries with people without guilt. We need to learn how to balance our needs according to our circumstances, and we need to let go of resentments. Now, these are core life-changing life skills. I do not use that word lightly. These are simply skills, like learning to ride a bike is a skill. Learning how to have boundaries, it's a skill. It's knowing how to say something, when to say it, what to say. Letting go of resentments, it's a process. And I teach people how to do that in my programs. It's a really life-changing process. Step 3, we need to rewire our subconscious mind, because remember, our subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of what happens in our day. So if you believe that you're not good enough, if you believe that you're not worthy of being loved, if you believe those things about yourself, you are not going to have a pleasant experience of living. I used to believe my 2 core beliefs, and I believe these like facts, like I believe the sun will set tonight. I believed that I wasn't good enough. And because I wasn't good enough, I wasn't going to be loved. And the reason I believe those things is I got lots of evidence that proved to me it was true. When I began to change my belief, the evidence changed. The reality of my life changed. If you believe you're not good enough and you're not worthy of being loved, alcohol provides relief from that feeling. So this is why we have to get to this root cause. We have to start thinking, feeling, and acting differently. And we have to reconnect with our authentic self, right? We have to begin this journey back to who you really are and be true to ourselves. Because there's no other way to live. So there's core skills that we need to learn: how to communicate effectively, how to speak so other people will listen. Again, it's just a skill. How to say things. Breaking free from our story. We all have these stories about why I need to drink, why I can't stop, why things are the way they are, why, like all the stuff that happened to me. You are not your story. We have to be able to break free from the stories that we tell ourselves that keep us stuck, that keep us limited, and that keep us drunk. Can everybody see how they do that? And is this making sense? Please say yes in the chat. I just want to make sure this is hitting home. Okay. So the way that what we have to do, the key to sobriety is consistency. We have to be consistent in our emotional sobriety practice. So we need to create, I mean, you all have routines and habits, right? That's how we get through your day. Drinking is a very established habit. We need to change that into an emotional sobriety habit. That's all. So we need to integrate practices and habits that support our mental and emotional health. We have to we need to learn what those practices are, and then we just need to consistently do them. And I'll explain a bit more about that in a minute. So what is the 90% of emotional sobriety? It's all of these things, but I want to tell you these three things in particular will change your life. Brené Brown says this: you can't be happy and free unless you have really good boundaries. So you need to have really good boundaries, and I teach very specific methods on how to do that. Not taking things personally. We all interpret the world personally. We all, if someone says something or does something, or we all think it's about us. Being free of the good and bad opinion of other people will change your life. So not taking things personally. And that isn't just like, you can't make a decision, oh, I'm just going to not take things personally. We get to that place by dealing with our resentments. It's like a magical process that just changes how you see the world. That's the only way I can describe it. The other thing is being able to deal with difficult people. I want to tell you a quick story. I have a lovely client. She worked with me about 2 years ago. Lots and lots of issues. Really difficult, really bad alcohol problem, lots of other stuff going on as well. She kept at it. She had some stops and some starts, but she kept at it, and she did the work of emotional sobriety. She literally just messaged me this morning. She's on a trip with her mum, and her mum is a massive trigger for her. She loves her mum, but she finds that relationship so difficult and her mother so difficult that it would always lead back to drinking and other self-destructive behaviors. And she's just messaging me and saying, I just feel so different. My mum is still doing her things that she does that used to drive me crazy, but I just don't have the same response anymore. I feel differently. And I said to her, that is the payoff of the investment that you made over the time that you worked with me. You did the work, and it changed her. So she deals with her mother differently. And it's been life-changing for her. Being able to deal with difficult people is really a core part of the emotional sobriety program. It will change your life. Who here has a difficult person they have to deal with? It's usually a family member. For me, it was my mother as well. So you do the work, and it will pay off dividends. It will pay off pretty quickly, but it will pay off years into the future. Yeah, parents, it's often is. Yeah. Michelle's saying, what does a sober alcoholic mean? I don't know. don't really understand the question, Michelle. Yeah, music scene makes us think we need alcohol. I love music. I love live music. I used to live near London and go to live music all the time. I was about 18 months sober when I was going to gigs with my friends, and I realized I was having more fun than they were. Like, why would you pay all this money, go and see your favorite band, and spend half the time at the bar or at the toilet because you were at the bar? Makes no sense. Yeah, we always, yeah. So these are the things. This isn't about other people changing, by the way. Other people are not going to change. This is about you changing. So this is the part that you really have to get down. So the thing is, if you don't do the work of emotional sobriety, your brain will always look for outside fixes. Quick story. In the 1990s, when they pioneered the gastric band surgery, you know, for people who were very, very morbidly obese, you know, 3, 4, 500 pounds, where they did the surgery and they could shrink the stomach so they couldn't overeat. They just couldn't overeat. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's well over 80% of those clients who had that surgery went on to become alcoholics and drug addicts. All they did was take away their drug of choice, which was binge eating and overeating. That their drug of choice was to stuff themselves with food. They took that away. And so because they didn't deal with the emotional issues as to why they did that, their brains just went, well, if I can't do that, what can I do to fix how I feel? And then they began to realize that they needed to have therapy and emotional support on top of just the surgery. So if all you do is stop drinking, some people can stop drinking for quite some time, but if you don't do the emotional sobriety bit, you will look for dopamine hits, basically. These are just dopamine hits. Make sense? Who's done that? Can everybody see how they've done that? Yeah, there's a phrase dry drunk, when a person stops physically drinking but remains emotionally. Yeah. So a dry drunk is somebody who doesn't drink alcohol but is not emotionally sober, right? They are still people pleasing, insecure, low self-esteem, lots of limiting beliefs, all of that kind of stuff. What about ADHD and the need for a dopamine hit? I'm going to tell you, Dawny, once you are sober and emotionally sober, any other co-occurring situations like ADHD are 100 times easier to deal with, manage, and if necessary, medicate appropriately. So in your emotional sobriety practice, it's like 20 minutes a day. If you can't give me 20 minutes a day, I can't help you. It's about being consistent. It's not about being rigid. It's about being consistent. It's about self-reflection, an attitude of gratitude. We root ourselves in sobriety and personal development. We are growing. It's about creating freedom in your mind. So you just don't think about alcohol. And it's about community and membership. Those are the things that need to be part of your emotional sobriety practice. Because all sobriety is a shift in perception. That's all it is. Nothing changed. Your mom is not going to change. Your neighbor's not going to change. The politics is not going to change, right? How you see everything changes. You see it differently. I saw alcohol as the best way to have fun and connect and all those kind of things. And that changed. I just don't see it that way. I look at people who drink the way that I used to drink, and I just think that looks awful and boring and like the last thing I want to do. All that's changed is how I see it. And that's how we go from FOMO to JOMO, the fear of missing out to the joy of missing out. And I'm going to tell you, the longer that you're sober, the more gratitude you'll have. Like my gratitude at 25 years of sobriety is more than it was at a year of sobriety. This is important. Sobriety is not that some people get it and some people don't get it. It's that some people do it and some people don't. So emotional sobriety is an action. Listening to podcasts, reading books, coming to this webinar, all very useful, but it's information. I want to be really clear. You need to take actions to change your behavior. That's what you need to do. Change your behavior. That's action. A consistent emotional sobriety practice, I teach that in all my programs. That's the action. Okay, so does everyone feel clear on what emotional sobriety is, what you have to do, how you get it. Because to truly change, you need a proven system, accountability, and expert support. Oh, thank you, Glenda. I'm glad. You will get a recording with this and it will have all the slides in it. And I think maybe we can do a little PDF carry with the slides. Okay, so I would just like to spend a few minutes telling you about my program, the Emotional Sobriety Framework, for those of you who are really considering working with me. I want you to know what emotional sobriety is, why it's so important. And for those of you who would like to work with me, I'm going to tell you about what we do and how that works and how much and what time and all that kind of stuff. So the Emotional Sobriety Framework is my flagship program. It is a 6-month program because it takes 6 months to really learn how to do this. At the end of the program, you will know how to be emotionally sober, and you will have a practice that works for you because it's a little bit different for everybody. You will know how to manage your emotions, deal with people, and navigate any triggering situations with alcohol. That's what I teach in this program. And I want to explain how it works. And this is the analogy I want to use. Becoming emotionally sober is just like physical exercise. If you came to me and you were unfit and I trained you for 6 months, right? I trained you, we tweaked your routine, we did different things, I kept you accountable, I pushed you when you needed to be pushed. At the end of 6 months, you would feel better, you would see a difference, you would feel a difference, and you would know how to exercise, right? However, if you stopped doing everything I taught you at the end of our 6 months together, what would happen? You would lose your fitness. That's what would happen. You would lose your strength, lose the muscle definition, lose the flexibility because you'd stopped doing it. This is how my program works. It's not, and I want to be very clear, it's not that you come and I fix you. It's that you come and I will show you exactly what to do. We will do it for 6 months and you will leave knowing how to do that for the rest of your life. That's how it works. Does everybody understand the difference there? Because so I don't want people to think that they come and work with me. I wave my magic sober wand and ta-da, right? You have to go to the gym and sweat. And I'm going to show you how to go to the gym and sweat really, really effectively. So this isn't the skills and the stuff that I teach. It's not just about staying away from alcohol. It's skills that you will use for the rest of your life. I learned how to do this when I was 3 years sober. So 22 years ago. This is what, I mean, it's ingrained in me now. It's just like, I just know what to do and I just do it. And I recognize fairly quickly when I start feeling a bit uncomfortable in my own skin, it's because I haven't done the work. It's because I'm not doing the stuff. Just like if you don't exercise for a few weeks, I always feel a bit like, if I don't exercise. And that's why we need 6 months. It's not a quick fix. This is deep and it's transformational. So let me give you the details. This is what we do in the program. So when you enroll, we're going to do an onboarding call. So I'm going to onboard you, show you where things are, how to get started, all that kind of stuff. It's a weekly group. And those calls are about 75 minutes. And it's with a small group of women. So I just want to say, this is a group just for women. If you are a man watching this, I do have an alternative. So there'll be an opportunity to book a call with me if you want to do that. So this is a group just for women, but I do have some options for men if you are a man. Every 2 months, we have a deep dive session, and that is a 2-hour session where we get into the work of being able to deal with resentments, change our belief systems, deal with activating events. The deep dive sessions are really like, we dive deep. There's some digital content that you're going to get that I'm going to sort of ask you to go through. You also get Voxer access to me. Voxer is simply an app on your phone, and you can message me in between sessions, Monday through Friday. You can ask a question, you can ask for help, you can say, I'm not clear about something. So there's a lot of personal coaching in this program as well. and you get lifetime access to all of the content. So what happens in the weekly sessions? We learn how to apply the skills of emotional sobriety. So it's a new thing that you're learning. You won't be good at it at the beginning. You're going to have questions. You're going to have obstacles. We are going to navigate all of that together, and you'll learn a lot from the other women in the group. So you'll receive support and coaching from me. Every 2 months, we do the deep dive sessions. And during this process, we'll uncover the root causes of your drinking and change your behavior. If for those of you who want to know, the model that I use is called Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy, REBT. It's very well established. You can read the research. It's very effective. You have to do it. I'm going to help you learn how to do it really well. And we're going to, in that process, we will change our behavior. Voxer coaching is just a direct way to get support from me, because you will, I have people who in this program, by the way, all over the world. I have people in Europe. I have a woman in Australia who gets up in the middle of the night. And it's great to just have that time in between sessions to reach out for help and support as you need it. So this is the investment. If you pay in full, it's $4,997, or it's 6 payments of $997. So I want to be clear and upfront. That's what the investment is. I know that this is not possible for everybody, and nobody should put themselves into poverty to pay to work with me. What I will say is, have a look at where your money goes and what you're spending money on trying to fix yourself. This is why before anyone works with me, I really ask people to do due diligence on me. And Carrie will put the link in the chat for the program for those of you who want to get more details and either sign up or book a call with me. Now, I want you to be really sure and clear about what you're doing. I'm going to give you a bonus. Everybody who joins in the month of June will get 7 months for the price of 6. So that will take you all the way through to January, through the holiday season. So that's for people who sign up in June. For those of you who are like, oh, Veronica, I'm interested, but I'm really scared. I don't know. Book a call with me. There is no obligation. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a therapist. Those calls are just $47. They're about 35 minutes. You can ask me questions. You can tell me about what's going on, and I can, answer as much as I can. And we can talk about whether this is the right fit for you. I want you to be really sure. It's going to feel scary. I'm just going to put that out there. It's going to feel scary. There's no getting away from that. It's going to making this kind of commitment, because what is going to happen is, yes, it's having skin in the game. It's absolutely having skin in the game. It's about, because what's going to happen is your voice of the ego is going to show up. The voice of the ego is going to show up and go, oh, I don't know about that. Oh, you haven't got time. You're really busy, and you can't afford it anyway. So, you need to just listen to more podcasts, right? The ego, the resistance is going to show up, and it often shows up with time and money as a reason to not do anything. So I know that this price point may not work for everybody. If not, please enjoy all of my free content. I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast that's been going 7 years. I do tons of stuff on social media. My book's like $20. You could get that. So there's lots of different ways to, kind of get information. This is for people who have checked me out. They have done the due diligence. They've tried various things. Usually when people come, I had a lady at the retreat I was at this weekend and said she's tried everything. What people haven't tried is consistency. That's what I teach, is how to be consistent, and what to do consistently. And just know the voice of the ego is going to show up and try and persuade you not to do this. And that is everything. I have time for questions if people want to put any questions in the chat. So let me tell you some more details. The calls are every Tuesday, and they are at 12 p.m. Eastern time, which is 5 p.m. in the UK. I'm not sure. You're going to have to work out what country if you're in a different country. The calls are recorded and we keep them for a month. So if you do miss a week, you won't miss all of the information. It's a small group of women. All of my clients are on the outside, you wouldn't think that they had a problem. You would think that their lives look fine. They have a nice house, a nice car, all of that kind of stuff. Because an alcohol problem shows up on the inside. An alcohol problem shows up on the inside in how we feel long before it shows up on the outside in how we behave. So thank you, Lynn. I'm really glad. Was this helpful for everybody? Did everybody learn something? Do you have something to take away and to think about? Mirjam? Okay, great. Wonderful. Dominique, brilliant. And for those of you who are thinking about really doing the work, then book a call with me. I have some space for calls. I don't do hundreds of them. So that's the best way to get started, because then you can we can meet one-on-one and really kind of talk. Dawn, you have a great communication skill. I know you are very on point with the emotional sobriety. I have surgery coming up on a total knee this Monday. Very helpful. Ooh, dear. Okay. Hope that goes well, Dawn. Someone else, it was interesting. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions before we finish? Put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer anything about the webinar, anything that didn't make sense, anything that needs clarification. Put it in the chat. Oh, Alma, you're amazing, and I will book a call ASAP. I know you'll be huge. Oh, Alma, I sent you a different link. So look at that email that I sent you yesterday and use that link, my love. Yeah, and we'll chat. Glenda, so also I listened to you for quite a while. I've also been going to AA for quite a while, but you offer a very important aspect where it's so important. Yes. I got sober in AA. I think the 12-step program is great. But it also in the big book does say about taking working where necessary, working with outside practitioners. It's on page 133. Please check me out. I really think my work stands up. I have so much content over there. And in fact, let me just say, before working with anybody, I'm just going to say this, there's lots of people who get sober and see business opportunities who you can qualify to be a sobriety coach in a weekend. Just do due diligence on people, right? I really encourage people to do that. Do due diligence on me, do it on everyone else. If you're thinking of working with someone different, just make sure that you feel really confident with the person that you're working with, because some of this, like really working with me, there is a degree of trust. Like we are going to go into what is unfamiliar and the unknown, so I really want people to trust me. Dawn, I will get into class after surgery. Yeah, Dawn, feel free to book a call after your surgery, maybe the end of next week when you're feeling a bit better. Elma, we'll do it. I'm so anxious to work with you. Everyone in chat, you will truly be amazed by the knowledge, patience, and understanding Veronica has. Oh, Elma. So I do in-person retreats sometimes, and Elma was at my in-person retreat. I love meeting my people. You are my people, by the way. You are my people. I love meeting my people in person. I just do. I just think we are extraordinary. And the reason I think that we're extraordinary is that, hold on, I'm going to stop sharing. How do I stop sharing? Hold on. Stop share. There we go. We are extraordinary people because we've been through hell and back, right? We've been to really dark places, and not everybody understands that. And my experience has been that sober people are just the most extraordinary people. I just love working. I love my work, and I just love being around sober people. When I got married, 50% of the people who came to my wedding were sober people, because we're the most fun, we're interesting, and we've worked really hard on ourselves. Glenda, your work is really important to the longevity of sobriety. Yes, that's yeah. We are making an investment that's going to pay off months and years down the line. I went through a couple of times in my sobriety. I went through some really, really hard stuff. And the only reasons that I didn't drink when I went through that really hard stuff was because I'd made an investment in the sobriety bank. You have to make an investment in the sobriety bank, and it will just keep paying off. That's why I make the analogy with exercise. It's just like exercise, right? It doesn't matter that 10 years ago, actually it's longer than that now, 15 years ago, I could run 10K, right? I can't run to the end of my street. I don't run anymore, various reasons. It doesn't matter that 15 years ago I could run 10K. It's what I'm doing today that matters in terms of my sobriety. Why is that? Okay. Can everybody see me? I'm going to wrap things up now. So if you have questions, put them in. Tarima, thank you for this program. You have helped so much clarity around the subject. You're so clear and realistic. Oh, I've done this a lot, right? I've done this presentation a lot, but I still, I'm still like, oh, am I making sense? I don't want people to walk away going, what? Like, none of that made any sense. I want people, I want to be really clear. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Well, I hope to see some of you in my program. I hope to see some of you maybe on my next retreat, which is coming up in October. I hope to see some of you in different, if you're like, Veronica, I really, really want to work with you, just send me an email. I'll make some suggestions about different things. You can book a call. I have lots of different bits and bobs. The Emotional Sobriety Framework is like the flagship, kitchen sink program. It's like hardcore. Thank you for putting this out into the world. And I love your podcast. Oh, you're welcome, Eric. And again, if you're a man and you're like, I want to do the work, I do have an option for men to book a call. You'll get an email shortly with the recording and links and all of that kind of stuff. Oh, guys, you're lovely. Thank you for all your lovely, kind words. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here for yourselves. I want everybody to know that there is hope. And I'm going to leave with this. I'm not special and different. I'm not. All I did was I went to the gym and I sweated imperfectly, messily. I just consistently showed up at the gym and I sweated, and it paid off. That's all you have to do. You just have to do it. It will work for you. That's how. It's not. I'm not special and different. I wasn't lucky. I'm no different from you. That's what I want everyone to know. All right, loves. Good to see you, and I look forward to seeing a bunch of you on the call soon. Take care.